Hello, I'm Orla.
And I'm Leanne, and together we are
How's Your Ma?
Today in the studio we have Mandy, otherwise known as Cher Mandy, here in the studio with us. And Mandy has been on a huge journey across her lifetime. We'll allow her to tell her story, but she's certainly ebbed and flowed through life for a number of years. Mandy, tell us, how old are you?
47.
Oh, I thought I was older than you. And there I am, only a baby, a couple of months younger than you.
I came to realisation the other day, yeah.
But Mandy, you are obviously a grandmother and a dog mother,
Yeah.
and a mother to a wonderful son. But you didn't get to that part of your life without having had a life before that.
Yeah.
So if you want to take your time, start where you want to start and tell us about your life up to becoming a shamanic healer, and then we'll spend some time maybe deep diving into what being a shamanic healer means to you and how it's happened and what it is that you can do for other people to shape other people's lives.
Yeah, so where do you even begin? Come from a family of nine children. I was just praising my mother on the way up there. So 9 children, busy house, you know, that kind of way. So I think I remember living in Inchicore flats. I was 1. I remember going around on a tricycle. And I don't know whether my ma was was it after that or before that? She may have been squatting on the first 2. You know, at that time, times were hard. So I think Hairlawn was only built. So we were after getting the phone call that we got a house. So the houses were only built in Hairlawn, and we were there before Weefield and Ofield. That was just fields.
Yeah.
So, we got the house, and I think we were only there a week. And I remember we all got snowed in. The snow was past the second window. So there was about
snow.
I don't know many
The 80s.
Yeah.
The
In the 80s, and my
yeah.
dad had to shovel his way out to go and get his food. So there was, I don't know, many of us was at that time. I'm like the 5th, so there's 4 older, 4 younger, so I'm the middle child, so that explains everything as well. The one in the middle. So yeah, we grew up in that house in Hairlawn, and I suppose it was a busy house. There was a lot going on, and the boys are crazy. So
They are crazy.
Yeah.
Their own way.
There's not one of us that isn't crazy. So we're all crazy, you know, that kind of way, in a good way, like, you know, and I wouldn't say it was easy, you know, that kind of way.
So when you say it wasn't easy, what was it that wasn't easy?
So it wasn't easy because I felt I think this is where it all began for me. I'll probably get emotional now already.
That's okay.
So I would have been the middle child, so I felt like I was the forgotten one, you know. It's like my ma had Eric then, you know. Eric was spina bifida, so she was his carer then. She had to become his carer, then Ian came along after that. But it was kind of like, I would say it was kind of like, you know, there was a relationship breakup in the house, you know, that kind of way with the parents.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, you were in the middle, you know, that kind of way. So there was a lot of tension. There was a lot of...
And it's easy for children to get caught in the middle, and especially in big families and where everybody has their own stuff going on, because everybody has a different perspective on what happens in the family. Family breakdown is quite common in the area. You're from Clondalkin, Hairlawn is in Clondalkin for anybody who doesn't know, up in Dublin. And like relationship breakdown in high poverty areas is quite common, isn't it?
Yeah, it seemed to be the thing on our road anyway. It just seemed to be that way, but you became acceptant of it, you know, that way. But little did I know I was different then, because I was always the one that stood out and stood up, and I fighted everyone. I wanted to fight everyone because I never agreed with anybody. I was the one on the top of the landing screaming down, like wanting to fight the 6 brothers. So I kind of got put into a back bedroom for a long time, as in like my ma just didn't know what to do with me. So I could tell you, I could count all the dimples in the ceiling and how many shoulders were on the church, on the curtains. Now we laugh about this now, do you know what I mean? Because I suppose down through me healing, I had to have a soul retrieval for that, because that kind of comes up when you're in your healing and stuff like that, which I understand now. Like, I was different. I didn't know I was different. My ma just didn't know. That was the answer I got when I went on my soul retrieval. I just didn't know what to do with you. And the more I think about it, I just didn't agree with anyone. I was just a different child, and obviously there was something different about me. And like I remember the boys when I was locked in the room, they were like, "You little hagstaff, whoa, you're locked in the room." You know what I mean? And they say you're coming in for a game of darts or something like that, and you get a dart thrown at you. They're just it was funny, you know, that kind of way. But yeah, I was just different. But I would say I never chose. That's the thing. I'd never make a choice, choose sides of who I love more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Between the parents, I was very stubborn like that, you know. Loved them both the same and still do, you know, that kind of way. But like that, I was at war and I was just, I suppose I felt...
Were you at war with yourself, Mandy?
I was at war with myself because I know now I just wanted to belong and I wanted to be loved. But when you have a big family and you have loads of brothers and sisters, like, God love me ma, she had her hands full with us, you know. We were well fed and well looked after. And then the babies came along and you thrown out Eric and Ian and the pram, you know, that kind of way. And the girls done their bit, you know. It was like the boys, the girls we done our bit. We kind of like the women pick up after the boys, you know.
Women done women's work.
Women done women's work and the
work,
cleaning. And I remember my ma say, do you want to have a bit of fun? And she'd say, there's a bucket of water and an out sponge. Slide all over that floor there now. And I think it'd be great, but didn't know I was washing the floor, you know, that kind of way. Just stuff like that. And then... I suppose growing up then, my sister Nicola, we lost her along the way. We lost her at the age 33. She got caught up in the wrong, you know, she got caught up in the wrong game, let's say, when it was only starting.
Mandy, tell the truth.
Tell the truth. She got caught up in drugs, yeah.
She did, yeah.
And there was just something about the drug. I couldn't accept her on that. And, you know, and
Nicola was lovely.
Nicola was the most beautiful and, you know, lovely. And that's the thing, she was took advantage of. Yeah. Because of her kindness, she was easily led. Yeah. God love her, like, she was easily led. And, you know, people just, come on, Nicola, you had a bit of crack and, you know, yourself, like, and she went down a very bad road and got caught in that cycle, and it was a horrible cycle to watch.
And it's horrible for a family to lose somebody, especially a family that feels like a gang, and you have the banter and you have great fun and you have your hardships.
And she was funny now. She was funny. I used to go out and fight for her. Like, she'd run in and say, they're coming after me. And I'd be like, who is? You know, and I'd be jumping over walls and pulling scared
and the little size of you.
Oh, you know. I used to fight everyone for me brothers. I actually remember getting knocked out. I actually got knocked clean out because I thought it was, you know, the 6 brothers. It was rough, you know, you'd have a good old. But I just remember one of my brothers was like running by me or something, and there was a fella running after him, and I just like, I think I picked up a stick and hit him with it. But there I was thinking it was great walking up, and I just heard bang, and next of all I'm on the ground. He was at the breaking a stick or something over my head. So Jesus. Yeah, I was a tomboy as well. So I used to go out and I felt like I had to fight everyone. You know, I was fighting all the time, and sometimes I didn't want to, but you had to kind of not be afraid from where you lived. You know, that kind of way, because you'd be walked on or bullied. You know, that kind of way. So.
You're keeping face as well,
keeping face, like, don't mess with me because I'll batter you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And like, let's call a spade a spade. The lads in your family are big lads, bodybuilders, the whole shebang. Like, do you know what I mean? And I know that they are now, but they would have been on that journey. And because there was a lot of them, there was people who were afraid of them, and they fought. Yeah,
and that's what it is. You can't. I think at that time, it's how you look, it's how you carry yourself, and if you're not fit, you know, you'll be walked on. And I suppose then, obviously, where would I go from there? I was just wild. And I think when I got to me, Nicola was wild, and then I'd get on with Nicola, and then I wouldn't get on when she was on other things. But in her dying days, God love her, I just kind of came to this stage where I accepted her for who she was. Yeah. And it was the best year of my life because I actually had a sister, you know, and I was there for her, and I had my year with her. And then, then she died by pneumonia then, you know. Mm. But it was lovely how, I suppose when she was dying in the hospital, we got the phone call. It just happened so quick, you know. She went in with pneumonia and all of a sudden we've all to come up. But it was like we were all around the bed, and all my sister ever wanted was to be loved as well, you know, that kind of way. Because she obviously, we fought with family. When you're on the drugs, you do things and you get, you know, and we're always to turn on your family, and then you're back talking and stuff like that. But we were all just standing around her in the bed, and one by one she's like, right, come on, giving you the hug. And then Eric got lifted up to give it a kiss, and Ian would give it a kiss, and my ma gave it a hug. And I just remember David saying, do you want to go now, Nicola? And she just done that, you know, and just give me more morphine, and then just went. So that was my first experience of death, you know, that kind of way. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Take your time.
I was only getting to know my sister, and, you know, you lost her.
You find a soul. You find her soul.
I used to hide behind her.
Yeah.
I used to be out partying and be like, shh, don't tell me, ma. And I'd climb in behind her because she was a big girl. Ma, she's hiding behind me. She's after been out drinking. I say, you little rat.
I never had a sister, Mandy. Well, don't have a sister unless my dad was out carrying on and I don't know about it.
Oh, okay.
But it's always something that I feel that is missing as part of my soul, is that kind of sister relationship. And so to hear of your bond even in Nicola's dying days, it's a precious space to be.
You know what? And I'm finding that was, to me, it was healing, because I realised something then as judging somebody. And I never forget one time I said to her, I'm going to go out and do them drugs. And she jumped on me and she battered me like that killed her. Don't you ever let me see you on the heroin, you know, that kind of way. It killed her.
What was the age gap between you?
She was 33. It was a year and a half, kind of. She would have been 2. So we were all a year and a half. We're like a ladder. Like, I remember I used to mind Michael in the cot. Like, Michael was, like, younger than me, but I was his older sister. But sometimes we used to catch up with each other. It was weird, you know, that kind of way. So, there was Nicola and me, and then there was Nicola and Robin, then there was Robin and Karen, and then Jason. So Karen was the older sister, so Karen was the boss. It was just, you know, what Karen said went, you know, that kind of way. It's still kind of like that today. She was just the older sister, and you just did what you were told, you know, that kind of way. Yeah, it's a bit afraid of her sometimes.
Do you think that drugs stole Nicola from you?
Yeah, definitely, because she was just she was just, you know, she was just lost. If there was the tools that I have now that was there for her to understand her pain, and she's able to release stuff and it's trauma and whatever she went through, you know, she'd get herself into awful trouble when she was out, you know, that kind of way. So, and then she was just adding on to her trauma and kind of, but yeah, definitely stole her, because she wasn't my sister. She was different. And what I see their soul being stolen. You know what I mean? I know that now, that's what I see, because they're different. They're being led by something else, a higher force, you know, that kind of way. And then you notice the difference. I used to know what she was, whether she was drunk or whether she was on something else, or, you know yourself, what kind of personality she had. And then you know when you had your sister Nicola, because she'd give you her arm and her leg, but she loved Carl. She always wanted a baby when my baby came along, like. She used to just bring him off and babysit for him, and, you know, and I suppose I took advantage sometimes. Friday, and she's like, Sunday, you coming home? I want another €50. So, yeah. Did I lose her? No, I didn't lose her before I had Karen. I suppose I was getting curious when I was 15, 16. I always thought I would have been ready when I was 16. You know, the boys had no interest, was just a tomboy. And then I guess my hormones just took over curiosity, and I bumped into Karen's father, and I wasn't long courting, let's say 3 months, and I fell pregnant. So then I was a girl in a bedroom with a baby, you know, and that was my life for 9 years, waiting on his father to come home from work with a baby, and he cried for 2 years. So even that as well, me accepting, my friends were only starting to go out. You know, I'd be looking at them going out, and I'm like this, standing at the window, like, this is my life now. I couldn't accept that I was a mother for 2 years. I just couldn't.
Really?
No, I couldn't. It's just, it was. I think it was just all happened too fast. I didn't know what was going on with myself. You know, I'm going to be a mother. I have a baby. My life is over. Everyone's going out. I can't do that. I can't go anywhere.
So did you experience some postpartum depression?
I think I was, because Carl cried for 2 years, and now I know, with doing soul retrieval on people, that I borrowed some of his soul. You know, it's like they're stolen pieces, borrowed pieces, etc., etc. Yeah. So I've, like, getting through that pregnancy, like, finding out this is what happened. So me sister and Nicola, we were going to the doctors, because someone said, I think your Mandy might be active now, and you need to get her on the
pill, put her in her
cornflakes. And I think Karen was going to get it, and Nicola was going to get it, or one of them was getting a pregnancy test. I don't know. And here's the doctor, sure, I'll give you a. He says, you won't be giving me a pregnancy test. I said, like, and like that, gave it the pill and waiting weeks and weeks and weeks. And I just never forget it in the bedroom. Like, my mum was had to buy me all the sanitary stuff and all that, and I threw everything out the window because it came back positive, you know. And then his father got the phone call, and he's like, no, she's not. Yes, she is. No, she's not. She couldn't be. Well, she is. You know, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it was just...
And were your mum and dad still together at that time?
In the house, yeah.
In the house together?
Yeah, but my mum and dad didn't talk.
They weren't in the relationship together?
No, the relation wasn't over. Together. So it was I always fought with me ma. I always thought I just had this. It's like me and my mum didn't get on at all.
Okay.
So I think I might have either ran away or I might have been put out for a while or any opportunity I could get. I just didn't want to be at home, you know, that kind of way. So I think Nicola was after getting a flat in Inchicore, my other sister and my brother, and it was great because I think I moved down there, but I think my ma kind of, you know, when I had the baby, like tell her to come home, you know, that way, but I got the back bedroom. And then there was 6 boys squashed in the box bedroom.
Oh, God.
We weren't very happy. And I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either.
And then my boyfriend at the time, Carl's father, was just swanning in and into the room and shutting the door. And he didn't really kind of socialise, you know, that kind of way. Yeah. So it was like a separate life in a room. And I didn't come out because I wasn't talking to some of them, you know. There was always one of us not talking to someone.
Yeah.
And you didn't talk for months or years. That's just the way it was because I think that's all we kind of knew.
Yeah.
You fall out with someone, that's it. It's over, you know, and never going to talk to you again.
They must have been hard fallouts.
But they were probably not. We just didn't know how to make back up. We didn't know how to say sorry. We didn't know how to talk.
Do you think that was influenced by the fact that your mum and dad were in separation and there was no repair work done? You weren't shown how to do that. It was just that
environment that, because how can you, when you don't know and you don't have the tools, then it was easier not to, you know. Well, so we thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now it's like, don't go to sleep. I know now you wouldn't sleep on an argument to say sorry. You know what I mean? And it took a long, long time for if you did fall out with someone to realise that all you have to do is just knock on the door. Just put your arm around them. Just, if you done something wrong, just admit it's your fault. You know what I mean? Take the blame. Ownership.
Ownership is so important.
Ownership, and I did do that and I'm sorry. I don't know why. Obviously, I was angry, you know, and you do stupid things in anger, and I was always angry. I was very angry. You know, my ma called me the devil's child, you know, one time, didn't help then, and when I was put on the pill, let's say, because I was worse. So, I think when I was 16, I just started wandering, kind of. I think I might have took Carl with me for a while, and I remember having him. I remember sitting on one of my friend's house on a broken bed with him, just kind of looking at him like this is my life, you know, that kind of way. And then I think I lived over in Blanchardstown for a while with him, you know, that way. Because I was in the room, I just needed to get out. All I ever wanted was my own, space.
Yeah.
And that's all I ever wanted, you know, that kind of way.
And was it easier with Carl as a man when you were outside of the space? When you were outside of the home, when you had your own space?
It was always on someone else's space, you know, that kind of way. So no, it wasn't. Okay. Wasn't really. I just didn't know what I was doing. But I think the day came when I looked at my friends and I looked at his father, and I knew I wasn't going to be with his father forever. Let's say a year and a half into it, I was severely depressed. I was probably suicidal because I'm like, this is my life. You know, he was older. When I met his dad, he said he was 21. When I met his ma, he was 28. Yeah. So he was just lying to me as well. Now, his father's great. You know, his father's been there for him, as in, like, I had to make a decision that I needed to take responsibility, be a mother, and rear Carl by myself, because I knew the relationship was over as well, because, you know, I was young. Yeah. And it was trying to, how am I gonna do all this and rear a child, and then kind of look at my friends and say, like, I'm a mother now, I can't. Because my friends used to knock in, you know, and I could never get rid of them, and I have a baby in my arms, you know, that kind of when they'd hung around. And one day you just have to get out. You just have to go.
Were you in your own place at this time?
No, I was still in my house. I used to come into the bedroom, you know, and just hang around for a while. You know what I mean?
As young ones do.
As young ones do, because I've
looking for somewhere to go as well, and they're like,
"Oh, we'll go up there
to
when they were leaving." Then, but Carl would be getting up and crying, and I never forget. And this is what did it for me. I screamed at him in front of them, and I said, "Stop!" And they went, "Mandy," and I just looked at everyone, and I just said, "Get out." And that's when I realised, that's my baby. I have to be a mother. I says, I can't be with you anymore. And I just took ownership then.
And in terms of, and this is a question, it's not a statement, but it'll probably come out like a statement. When you had Carl, was there a rupture in your life? And I'm just trying to connect the repair that didn't happen in your family home. So did you feel like he was a rupture, and then
you mean sent to me for?
No, I mean it disrupted the pattern of what you thought your life was going to be, and therefore you found it really hard to repair because maybe somehow blamed him for your life not going on the journey.
Yeah, but
that
I
you thought
didn't
was
actually. I
gonna
would
go
never
on.
say it like I loved him, but now I know why his energy was off with me.
Yeah,
Because there was a resentment in me there.
yeah, that's
and
what I
I'm
mean. Yeah,
probably listening to me and all, but there was like I had to accept I was a mother, and it was so hard for me. And the fact he did cry for 2 years. Now I realise why he cried, because I was after taking part of his soul to survive. I needed to survive through the pregnancy and then giving birth to him, and I borrowed some of his soul.
yeah.
And I actually it's
Found
only
it hard
now
to be present for him.
to be present for him, and I'm like, why did he cry all that time? It's because he wanted his mother. He was crying for me, and I didn't know. I didn't know he was crying for that connection.
Yeah,
And I obviously didn't know. I was numb.
yeah,
But you were a child as well.
I was only a
weren't you?
baby.
Yeah.
yeah. And the first 1,000 days of a child's life are the most important days when it comes to attachment theory.
I think when he was born and they're like trying to put him
Yeah.
under, and there was a rejection there with
Yeah.
him. And I remember he was up in the ward for a week, and I was like, I wasn't ready. That way when I heard the baby crying, I remember I didn't know who my baby was in the ward. I was kind of going, like, because they kept him away from me as well, that bonding week, that I don't know why. But I remember going up, I heard it crying, I was like, that's my baby, and I went looking for him and that sort of thing. But I suppose I didn't know where I was going. I wasn't happy where I was going to settle, what life I was going to give him, the stability.
How do you know?
How do I
you know when you're in a bit of chaos yourself?
All I knew was just living in the bedroom, do you know what I mean? And what kind of a life is that?
Yeah.
Found my way out though.
You did find your way out.
Do you know what? This is when spirituality kicked in. Is I had a friend, and he said, and I was trying to get a house, and I just knew something was screaming in me. I just needed peace. I needed space, and I needed to be a mother. And I couldn't do it because there was just too many in the house. And Carl would go downstairs, and he wouldn't go back up for hours, and I wouldn't go down because I was fighting with someone. I'd be like, when's he coming back up? You know what I mean, sort of thing. And he was so happy. He loved his uncles. His uncle, I have to say now, as a male figure sort of thing, it was like you're going up to your uncles when you're bold,
Yeah.
Does he have a favourite uncle?
Um,
Oh, you won't say. I think they've all
I
given
know,
him a
do you
bit of
know what?
something,
I
haven't
have
they?
to, there's a love between us all that's an unbreakable bond. That's all I can say. And I'm glad my son felt it. Because he's there and he is that love, and he was around for no matter what. There's this powerful love within my family. And some people just didn't like it and tried to break it, but it's an unbreakable bond, I can say that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are one. We are one. We're all just one. But we're all in different bodies, that kind of way.
And even Nicola is still present very much.
Oh,
so
she's
in the
very
family
present.
home.
I tell you, Michael just be taking the urn out and going, Essie, do you want to hold her?
So Nicola lives in an urn in the cabinet in the sitting room.
Oh, right.
And I don't know, Orla, if you've heard when we've been out and we've been singing Maniac or whatever at the top of our voices. Like there was a party one time, and in the party then someone went, Nicola, burn, Nicola, burn. So we all do it. Anytime Maniac comes on, we all do Nicola, burn.
I'll have to sing
That
along
was
to that now, I know.
In the Dead Man's, it was, the month's thing or whatever it
Month's
was.
Mind.
Something like that, yeah. That was, I was on the mic and everything.
Yeah.
The whole family was on it. My ma was on the mic.
And there's a video of it going around. I've only actually seen it recently. So Carl had been going down to the uncles. You said spirituality had kicked in, but obviously you were moving.
Spirituality kicked in the time when someone says to me, and I will still say it to this day, put this on your door. Because I was after applying for the council, I think. And I don't know whether I applied for too late, but I was also forgot that I had taken my name out when I was actually down as living with Nicola. She had her flat. So I just remember it was going to be 10 years. It was 9 years already in my ma's, and they were telling me another 10 years.
Jeez.
Oh man, I couldn't. Many times I looked at that window and I wanted to just jump over. Something told me to go down to the corporations that are down in Ballyferma. And if one of my friends says to me, put this on your door, I know you're into Buddhism and all that. I used to go over there and I'd be doing Tai Chi in the park with a samurai at 6 a.m. and doing mad backwards walking and all, and football teams be getting up and going, what the fuck are they doing, you know what I mean? But I didn't realise at the time that helped me. I didn't know how to walk. I wore platformers, Ballymum flats, because I was so small. I would never accept I was small and wear flares to hide them.
Right.
I was tiny. And that's what got me in the FCA as well, because I back home my hair like that, and I put the Ballymum flats on because you had to be a certain height to get into the FCA.
Yeah.
So that's how I got in there.
But again, that was fighting, wasn't it?
I always
you
wanted
got in,
to
it was like,
fight,
I want to fight, I want to fight, I want my job to be fighting, I want everything to be fighting.
Was the lion, you know, like, and there was always a fire in me. So he gave me this quote, and he put it on the door, and he said, just keep reading it. And I'll quote it. It's through many births I sought in vain the builder of this house of pain. Now builder, you are plain to see, and from this house at last I'm free. I burst the roof, the rafters and the wall, and I dwell in the peace among them all. And 3 days later, after I recited that, I got a phone call and I got my house.
Wow.
And I went, wow. So literally, I walked into my house, and my house is actually across the road from where my ma was born and reared. So our brother still lives in the family home, so I'm in that house now across the road from where my ma played. So I got the house, and I got a mattress, and I said, I am the first night, and I said, if I don't stay here tonight, I will never stay here on my own. And I have never looked back. I took Carl out of St. Bernadette's, and I had the fear of him putting him into the Ballyfermot Kymore College, and I just took the whole responsibility of, I had my house. He had his own bedroom, and I had my own bedroom, and I had a house, and I have an extension, and I had a back garden full of grass, and I'm just in fairyland in that house, and I've never been afraid, never looked back since, and that was my peace. And it's like I'm living down the country because no one knocks on my door sort of thing, and that's the way I like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm too far away, but it suits me fine, you know. And
You're still close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that, I think I was in and out of jobs, contract cleaner, God knows what else was in the FCA, and I used to work in a crash. I'd have Carl on my back. I used to bring him to work with me, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
And then a lovely bond, don't you, Mandy?
Yeah, but he was lonely, you know, and then I tried to mould him and keep him from trouble and things that my life, the life that upset me and the hurt that I went through and my pain, but like that, sometimes we had really, 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 really bad fights.
Okay.
Like, I mean, they got so bad with us that I couldn't figure out. And obviously, this is when I started getting into the bodybuilding and all, and I didn't realise I was angry, you know, and I was, God love him, putting up with me, that's all I can say, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
Because it's a solo road that you don't think of anyone else but yourself. And for 5 years I did that. And then I was losing my son. I wrote cars off, no carbs in me, going 2 weeks before a show, coming out of the gym, and then just driving into a car because you're just not in your body.
Exhausted.
And then, like, couldn't drive for 7 years, couldn't get insured. And it's only when, obviously, it was the external, because I wanted to belong, I wanted to be accepted, what was I chasing then? You know, what was that?
And the bodybuilding community can be quite built on ego, can't it?
Ego, and then it became personal because there was always a competitiveness with women.
Yes.
There was always women that put it up to me, and this thing followed me for up till only last year. This pattern, this energy that, you know, they wanted what I had, or they betrayed me, or, you know, and I just, you know, it was anywhere I went, they wanted my job, or if I was training somebody, say, oh, by the way, I'm going to be competing against you. And I'd be like, yo, what? I'm only giving you everything, and now you want to put it up to me, so then it became personal. You will, you won't be beating me. You know what I mean? So it wasn't about me then anymore, it was about she won't be beating me.
Yeah.
Very territorial then, you know, that kind of way. But the reason why I did it at the time was I didn't have a lot of money, so I wanted to teach Carl life skills, that when you say you're going to do something, you mean it and you follow it through. And I always followed it through. Your word is your word to yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, God love him, he's seen me a few times where I'd probably end up in hospital because I'd be on the diet, or things had happened, you know, where I'd get very sick, you know, and he's seen a lot. He put up with a lot. And then obviously I was going out partying as well, you know, we won't lie. Trying to escape myself then, you know, that kind of way. His father took him since he was 1.5 every weekend, and it was good for me, but it was also bad for me. Do you know what I mean? So, because I kind of had the free run of the weekends as well. And then I had to be a mother Monday to Friday, and then it was Monday, Friday to Sunday, and then I was a mother again, you know, that kind of way. So I got caught up in this kind of cycle then as well, you know, that kind of way, where, like, I suppose I was tired and angry, and I probably was a bit, you know, narky with my son and stuff like that, and then the bodybuilding, and all he ever wanted was his ma. You know, that kind of way. It's only I realise all this now.
Yeah.
We didn't.
And across that time, you would have obviously had love and loss.
Love and
across
loss.
that
Losing
period
people,
of time, bringing people into your life and bringing people
Yeah.
into Carl's life, and then losing people from your life. Because,
I think there was obviously his father, and I think he may have resented me, didn't understand that why you're not with me, Dad, you know, that kind of way. And I would never be the one to say, you know, or give out or badmouth anyone. I just say, look, you'll understand when you're older. It was just, I was a young son.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, you grow out these things. And, you know, he kind of understands now. Like, we can actually have conversations now, you know, where we couldn't talk to each other. We killed each other. We didn't know how to, I didn't know how to talk, you know, when
family pattern followed you.
It was a horrible pattern, because it was me and my son then.
Yeah.
He'd be in the room and I'd be in the room for 2 weeks and wouldn't talk to each other, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
And that's hard on him.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to be the adult, because we were best friends.
Yeah.
We'd be having, like, rolling around having fights.
Yeah.
And I'd be waiting up and he'd be shooting me with pellet guns and all. And, you know, one minute I'm his best friend, then I go, like, I have to be his mother. Then he wouldn't listen to me as a mother, because I'm his buddy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
that was hard. And then he met his girlfriend. And then I lost me boy. And then so I kind of went probably a few relationships, trauma, and, you know, whatever, seeking and looking for acceptance and love and just belonging.
Did you ever find it?
No, because I was looking in the wrong ways. Is because really what I was looking for was me. You know, I was looking in the wrong places. And it's only when, and I won't speak too much about, like, he was my best friend, and he loved me from me, and he brought me out myself and me worth, and gave me opportunities in life, and then I lost him to a trauma, which
It's difficult to talk about.
Yeah. That
Killed you. And I know that you say that you don't want to talk about, and I'm not going to push it, but there must have been some real highs with him as your best friend.
I laughed for 3 years in my life. I had belly laughs that I never laughed like I ever laughed. And if I say that was the happiest 3 years in my whole life, because I had the best friend, and I just laughed. I wet myself laughing, because I was so happy, because I was allowed to be Mandy.
Yeah.
I was allowed to be Mandy.
Yeah.
And to be safe and to be seen.
And that was robbed from me, so yeah. That's when the soul, it was obviously all the little traumas they build up. So when you have little traumas, like, one of them would have been when I was 9, I was scalded, so it was my first night staying up late, and my dad's like, go on in and get your hot dogs, Karen's cooking them. But Karen's carrying the pot in with the thing boiling to see it cooked.
Lovely.
So Mandy ran into the pot, and Mandy got scalded. So that's when one of me bits of me soul jumped down my body. So that went on for 2 years. And another one was in the same year when I was 9. I had to go to school. No, this is when I had to go to school. This was another trauma. My brothers, Neilstown was the only hairdressers.
Yeah.
So my ma said, get down, Robin, bring her down the hairdresser, get her hair cut. And he came back down. She didn't do it right. Bring her back down again and tell her to cut more off that. And Robin was like, I'll kill you. And he's walking down. And next of all, I seen him having a conversation with the hairdresser. Are you sure? He said, yeah, that's what me ma said. And all he went, zzz.
Shaved your head?
I had no hair. And Sinead O'Connor, nothing compares to you, come out that day. And I was like, are you a girl or are you a boy? I'd show you what I am. For years then, you know, I was getting bullied, like, because I looked like a boy, you know. And I remember getting chased off farmers because I was in the golf course and running behind my ma's chair and tell him I want them.
Yeah.
My ma was like, that's a girl. So I went through that because I was sent to school the next day. And the teachers were like, you know, so just that was...
Bet you they thought you had nits.
I was just about to say
Yeah,
that.
I
Bet
don't
you
know
they
what...
were like she was walking her ma's
Yeah,
after
and
getting her
then
hair
God
done
loved
last
me. My
night.
communion came up and my hair was like spikes. And my ma sent me down the road to a woman and she was great at French plaits and she reefed the head off me to get any sort of French plait in my hair. So yeah. And
I think I got my head shaved in the same hairdressers, Yui's in Neilstown, the corner.
Yeah, it was all women or something, was it?
Yeah, and Yui and Natalia was there. She was.
Oh, that's who it was.
Yeah.
And do you know what? My man went down and caused murder because I think I don't know. I think my ma went down giving out, but you were like, your son said, that's what you said. You know, there was no point. I ran home crying. So that was a trauma after trauma. So then obviously the big trauma would be, let's say I was just walking around soulless, like I wasn't in my body. So when a big trauma happens to you like that, you're just not in your body. You're just not in your body. And I became very afraid and I lived in fear. You know, I always thought people were coming to get me and I'd be hiding under my bed with, you know, knives. Funny enough, then it's more like a silver kind of samurai thing. Just needed to be protected. And it's mad because that's on my locker about 20 years. And that's what I use in my work now because you need a silver blade. It's when you're doing extractions or whatever. The way it's turned around for me that way, you know, like, because I used to, the thing that got me through life is like, I could never understand evil. I never want to understand it. I never want to feel it. I never want to be in someone's shoes that even thought that way and feel the way they felt when they were doing it. But I do know that something took them over and they sold their soul along the way for someone to take someone's life or whatever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I always said love always wins. Love got me through everything.
Love conquers all.
Conquers everything. So I know I carry the love vibration because I just nothing, you know. And the way I see it is, what I say now is with the work that I do, I'm coming after the dark now, you know. So it's the dark that better be afraid.
Yeah. You go, girl.
That's all the fear. I just feared everything and everyone. There was a part of my life where there was a lot of fear, and it was from a relation in the family, and I won't name names, but very afraid of him. And I don't know whether it was something that was in him that saw something in me, and it was from different places that, like, he just wanted me. He used to stand outside my window, and I'd be hiding. I'd be hiding in my bedroom. I'd be hiding in my sisters for days because he just wanted my life, you know. And until I was at a garage one day and I seen a man standing at my car and my son was in the car and he had said something and I looked and I went over to the car and he had threatened to kidnap my son. The energy's coming in now. And that's when I stood up and I says, not my child. I'm not afraid. I stood up. And I'll never be afraid of anyone again. I chased that person down the road, you know. But he kind of met his death somewhere along the line. Fell down the stairs or whatever. I used to go and get healing. In my healing, I always said there's something on me. There's something trying to harm me. And I always knew. And it's only when the healer was healing me. And I felt this pop. But she was in the process of healing me. And she felt like something was trying to take over her body. And she came out of her body and had to call her spirits to get her back down. And when she looked over me, she had her hands around my throat. This thing was trying to get into her to still harm me in spirit life. So he attached to her. I know this all sounds crazy. So he had attached to her then because that pop was him being taken from me, which I would say was earthbound now that I understand. So he was still trying to hurt me in spirit, you know. So she had to put up with him for 2 weeks because she has it in a book and all. She never experienced that like in her life. She was getting pushed downstairs and poked. So she probably went to see a shaman at the time because they had to cross him over then. And why won't she forgive me? You know, all this. And I know now and that kind of other side of the world is compassion and forgiveness and there's no hatred and we don't judge anybody. And she's like, well, she doesn't have to forgive you. I do now because I understand forgiveness and compassion and you know, crossing over and they've to answer to what they did, you know, they're in a halting site for a while. But he agreed to go over and that was that gone from me as well. So that was, you know what I mean, when more spiritual stuff. So my spiritual awakening would have been getting the healing, just had enough, you know.
How old were you when you had that healing, Mandy?
Very late. That healing was, Carl was 9, 10, 11. Like, I remember walking into the gym when I was 33. Was I doing bodybuilding then? It would have been just before that. It would have been around the time 7 years ago. 7 years ago I only started getting Reiki.
Okay.
So she saw something in me And obviously through the healing, when that happened, it was kind of like, oh my God, you poor thing. I'm going to, you know, till you get there, your heart is shattered. I'm going to keep fixing it. Your heart, you know, that there's just layers that we're going to have to keep. You're broken, you know. So I was just a dead man walking, really. And I think.
Can I ask you then how long between you starting to get the healing and your best friend?
It was together. We were both.
Okay.
And then that happened. So I.
Okay.
Yeah. The uncle thing would have been a couple of years beforehand.
Okay.
And then that was to start doing the healing. Then when that happened with him.
Okay.
The fear, that fear. And then obviously that then going with the fear, carrying the fear, just, I suppose there was more fear then on top of fear, you know, that kind of way. Then only after getting rid of that fear, and then I had another fear, you know, that kind of way. So I just had enough of life, I think. I remember just, it was one New Year's Eve and I was just left my house. My son was there. I was just going off. I just had enough. I was just going to find a tree. And I got a phone call from her. She said, I must have been called to call you. She said, you've been called. And I didn't understand what she meant. She said, I'm going to teach you Reiki. And you're going to know Reiki and you're going to help yourself. It was like, that was me on my knees. I had enough. My poor son didn't even know. And I went back. Swear away, Ma. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
God, I don't know what it was. You know, and obviously she got the phone call, she got a message from the divine or whoever. Let's get her now. Go get her now. So she taught me Reiki, and then I just started self-healing. And then that's when it opens up everything and doors, and then all of a sudden I'm doing.
And you very much talked about, you know, that fight, fly, freeze and flop as you've talked for the past 40 minutes. You've talked about what all of those are in real life.
My antenna was up. I was mad. I wouldn't sit easy in anyone's house. Now I do know as well, it's obviously I sense energies, but I couldn't sit with myself.
Did you feel like you had ADHD or something?
I do have ADHD. I know that now. I know that now because I use it to my advantage. Yeah. But I remember this is what happened. I locked myself in my house for 2 years with my son, and I wouldn't talk to anyone. And I completely cut everyone out of my life, and everyone's like, what did we do wrong? Me mother, me father, me brothers, me sisters, and I just Buddha meditated for those 2 years. I was trying to save my son and save everything, and, you know, I think I was going through a breakdown. I don't have many breakdowns. They were obviously all breakdowns, you know. Breakdowns become breakthroughs, you know, and then when I started healing then, I think I had Carl in the house and stuff like that. I was having me awakening. And I was a logistic manager for a while, so I thought that was another person that took advantage of me. I woke up at 4 a.m, I was falling into bed at 10 o'clock, I was running fleets, I was running logistic, but I wasn't listening to them. It wasn't for me, and I was burnt out. So basically I ended up in hospital for a month with meningitis. And I think that's when my full spiritual awakening happened then, because I was out of my mind. And I thought I was losing my mind. It was like a whole reset. You know, I came back someone else. Or who I was meant to be, you know, that kind of way.
You're sober, aren't you, Mandy?
Yeah.
How long are you sober?
Well, I would have drank them years, didn't realise I was having a bottle of wine most nights to just come down at work, but it was killing me, you know, that kind of way. And obviously my son walking down, I knew he was saying with his eyes like another glass of wine, you know, that kind of way. It was like me cope. But I start relying on it then to go sleep, you know, that kind of way, because I was in a lot of pain as well. Suffering. God love him. My son was there with me and he picked me up for 2 years. He was the man that I wanted him to be. Whereas he watched me just cry in that room, scream and crying for 2 years. He didn't know what to do with me, God love him.
Credit to him. What must have been difficult for him.
It was, yeah. And then it wasn't fair on him then.
Yeah. Difficult for you both.
Yeah. So, God, I think we had an argument. I told him to stay in my ma's for the weekend, but he took that as I thrown him out. So he didn't come back for 2 years.
Oh, God.
So I was like, free run of the house, but it had to happen as well, you know, because he needed to be a boy.
Yeah.
You know, he was buying the shop and he was making me dinners. I was the child, you know. Yeah. And then I couldn't have that anymore. Like, I'm the mother here. Come on, Mandy, now get yourself out of this.
Does he carry resentment for that now, Mandy?
Does he? Yeah. Not anymore. Not I know he did a lot because we fought a lot, but now because he's seen the change in me and then the change in me as a pattern, because we talk to each other now. I say, love you, Carp, I can't live with you. And we came to that agreement after a while.
Yeah.
Because, you know, his girlfriend was there and the pregnancy and then the year and a half, and then my dog decided to get the other dog pregnant. So I was lying on the floor for 8 weeks whelping pups. And I couldn't get out of the kitchen for 8 weeks. So I knocked on my ma's door with 2 pups and I said, help. I'm having a breakdown here. I stayed in my ma's for 6 months. And that's it. Everything got better then. So the more I healed, the more things were mending. The more I learned and the more tools I was given with words. Because when you don't know how to get out of a situation in your mind, how can you help yourself? So I started off with the Reiki, then I done Rahani. Come here and I tell you is what they used to call me, because I didn't realise people were afraid of me as well. Because when I used to go out, I'd start telling someone a story. And he went, Mandy, you ain't even fucking there. What are you talking about? And I used to go, I felt like I was there. I was telling them something about themselves and I was there. But they were telling me I wasn't there.
Right.
You know, but that's where my medium was. I always thought there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And it was spirit.
Okay.
I was medium. Till I remember my brother said, she's just a witch. Don't mind her. She'd start telling you weird stuff. But just don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she'd just be saying. You know what I mean? So I start going into myself then. And now I actually say to him, now I get paid for what he's going to call me mad now. You know what I mean? Because I channel messages. Someone told me, I kept going to him, you're a medium. And I needed someone to give me a tool to teach myself how to channel. You know, and obviously that came with the Reiki. No, that's what it was. I was after doing a medium course, and I remember sitting in front of a girl, just get into our energy. She says, and I started doing all this. It was like my hair was getting pulled. It's very rough. I said, it's like someone's pulling my hair. She said, yeah, I had it. I said, it's a girl. And she went, yeah, well, I have 2 friends that passed. What's her name? And I said her name. Well, she jumped up and ran into the toilet and held the place down.
Go away.
How did you know her name? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Susan said, I told you. You need to start, like, focusing on your gifts and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of things. So when I start doing my healing, I start, right, I'll just do it. I'll channel a message and I'll hand them and I'll just take the risk. How did you know that? You know, so look.
And would you be afraid, like?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Because I could go into it a lot deeper.
Yeah.
And I won't, because I'll only use it to the extent that it needs to be used.
Right.
So for my events, I will channel messages because I have to connect with your energy. I'm feeling everything you're feeling. I'm thinking everything you're thinking. I know
and that'd
exactly
be exhausting as well.
I had to be on the floor.
On the floor, yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's not something you'd be, it takes me a month.
Yeah.
Is why every month it takes me to do an event, you know, 24 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll be on the floor for 3 days after that, you know, so, but I love it because there was times when I started off in the library, you know, holding space. I was given the opportunity and I start, like, say, got all the names in one. And I just called everyone in. I just write down 28 4 pages to come out. I said, I don't know who it's for. So you can put your hand up or you can just say nothing. I said, but don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
So I'd read stuff out and you'd see some, that's for fucking me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then there was some stuff going, I'm not fucking saying that. You know, like someone's a kiddie fiddler in here or someone, you know, and it was just, and then you're like, oh no, that's a bit personal, you know, but I wouldn't know what I'm writing and I'd fold it up and I don't, like I'd say, I don't know what's on that, you know, because it's channeled through me, you know, that kind of way. But I'd say someone needs to watch their drink. Someone needs to, when they're out, watch their drink. And then it was like, I don't know who this is for. And then obviously I done a healing on someone, they said it was their daughter. Their daughter went out and it was for them to tell their daughter to watch their daughter, really, because their daughter was at them in spite. And it was just the way I described it. I went, that's what that was. These weren't listening. Yeah. You know, it's forewarning sort of stuff, and it's kind of who's here, or there's clarity, but like it's, be careful, you know, like it's going to come out the way it's going to come out, you know what I mean? If you ask the question, I'll tell the truth, you know what I mean?
So your whole life journey has brought you to the journey where you are now a trained
shamanic practitioner, because I went through the deepest healing. That's when I got all my soul pieces back. All the patterns of the way of, let's say, like the women thing, it turned out that when I done a past life healing, because this thing was still happening in my, even as I was training, monitoring, mimicking, wanting to be mine, copying everything. And I'm like, would you just think for yourself, you know, that sort of stuff. But it really, really began to trigger me. And it triggered me so bad that it was kind of affecting me. But it was affecting me so bad because it was in a place where I was healing, because this was coming up to be seen. So then when I done a past life healing, it turns out that I was a Nordic maiden and there was a big sphere in my back. So it's all to do with betrayal, backstabbing and stuff. So I carry that energy. So that's why I kept drawing that kind of women into my life.
Right.
And I had 2 fresh ones, you know, kind of. So what we do as shamans, we can scan the body and I can see, oh, there's a big sphere in her back here. I was like, get it out, pull it out, you know, and you feel it. And then it just stopped. And like, you could be walking by me and I don't give a shite what you think, how you feel about me or what you're doing or if you hate me. It doesn't affect me anymore. Yeah. The betrayal is gone. It just doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
It's a nice space to sit in, isn't it? When
you're
grounded and you're congruent and you're like, that's not for me. It doesn't belong to me. I can see what's happening. Yeah. My saying it's not my circus, not my monkeys, but I know the clowns.
But I know. But obviously, I'm aware. It's not like they're not doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You're just not attaching to it. And what I've learned is don't attach yourself to anything, any person, place, or thing. Because it's power over power, and if no one has power over you, then they can't affect you. You know, so half of the soul retrieval is you're going to get your power back. So if I done trauma, or I was abused, or was mentally abused, physically abused, or I had trauma, say a trauma where your soul jumps out of your body, like that trauma, frozen piece in time. So what I was brought back to was a specific place and time where Mandy's still there 5 years ago. And I say, Mandy, it's safe to come home. I'm healed now. You can come home. I'm going to mind you. Because you're not yourself walking around. You're chasing something all the time to fill this void. It's a bottomless pit, you know, and you think you need this and you try to it's like, what is your soul crying so badly to be seen or heard that it's missing, that it's trying to tell you, that you think alcohol or you think smoking or you think gambling is going to cover that up. It's not. It's your soul is telling you there's something there. There's trauma. You need to go back and find what that is. So what I can do now is like, so I was always told to shut up, be quiet, don't speak in the corner. I had to go back and get Mandy out of the bedroom. So what was coming up even in my place of work and all was just, don't be too tall, be quiet, don't speak. So this was triggering an ancestral wound in me so bad that this was the biggest one of all, and it's only been recent that I had it, that when I was laid on the table and my body was scanned, and I said, there's something coming up in my throat, and there's obviously something in the energy down here. So it turned out then when they were scanning my body, they were like, fuck. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. So it turns out 6 lifetimes ago, I was a priestess, and I was on a torture bed, and I had barbed wire around my neck, and I was dismembered, and I was also abused and raped and all that sort of stuff. So he's pulling barbed wire out my neck, because this is what we can do. We can see it. And I'm screaming like I'm actually been murdered in the place. And then she's pulling objects from me. In you know, it's mad stuff. Yeah. So that was that trauma gone that I carried then with attracting that energy into my life and then being told to shut up. Yeah. You know, because my voice will be heard now, you know. And that's what it is. It's just to empower women now, you know.
And it's very much the same as intergenerational trauma, where we inherently do what the people before us have done, and we don't realise that it's like an ancestral connection. So you're back to why I don't understand why I behave like this.
Yeah, you're carrying that energy.
For a reason.
So when you realise you're the cycle breaker, you put a stop to that. So when I start healing, and my son had a bit of weight on him, and it was hard to watch because I was a bodybuilder. He was happy, and he met his girlfriend. He was just happy having curries. Now, don't get me wrong, when he got one delivered, I wouldn't say no. Do you know what I mean? Send it up.
I'll take a chicken ball.
But when I was on my bodybuilding diet, it was horrible because like you'd be smelling it going by the door and he'd be going, one last smell it. Is it nice? Is it? You can't have it though, you know? Yeah. It was torture. I tortured myself. Yeah. But so I start doing ancestral healing. So you're going back and you're healing the ancestors. So that means like going back to the family home. There's this called the jar journey. So you're a jar. So you pour into this jar everything that happened to you. Then you go on the journey, and the jar's not physical at this time. And you go to the family home, and one of the parents will come forward and you hand the jar to them. And then whatever anyone is in the house or there's any been hurt or pain, the stuff gets put in the jar. And it can be passed back to his father, the father, and it can keep going. Okay. And mine just went... So then you get the jar and then you go buy them and you go out the back of the house, and this is all spiritual journeys you're going on. You look for a lake and you pour it in. And then you come back out and then you get your jar and you seal that up. And then you go find a lake and you find Mother Earth and you open the jar and you empty that into there and you ask Mother Earth to take it. Now, this is funny because I'd left the jar in my brother's Jeep. And I was like, Ian, I'm away at the weekend. Where's that jar? There's a jar in your van, Ian. He's like, what's it? Don't open it. I said, whatever you do, don't open that jar. So for days I was chasing him, but like he was after putting it into like where we would dispose of it then, as in the glass kind of bottle bank thing. Yeah. So it was how would you call it? Recycled. Yeah. So that wasn't too bad because you wouldn't want to open that anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? Right. That's you're putting your trauma, dumping that on somebody else. So as that was happening, as I was doing ancestral healing, I'm just watching like my son gets in a ring, he's doing Muay Thai, he has a 6-pack, and then his first fight, and I'm like all the training of the bodybuilding, the skills and the discipline was kicking in with him. And I never forget him knocking your man out in 2 to 3 seconds, and I was like, wow, that's some turnaround.
Yeah,
you don't even have to be in the room with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, I had explained to him that I had a soul piece belong to him, that I just need him to be aware that he has to sit beside me, that I just need to put my hand on his shoulder and I'm going to give him back a piece of his soul that I had belonged to him. You know, and for him to, Jesus, man, it's a bit heavy for a Monday.
Yeah.
But whatever you need to do, I'll be up in a minute. And fair play to him.
Yeah.
And it's just mad, the relationship and the bond and it's just what everything we ever wanted.
But you were always there for him, you were a constant.
Oh yeah, my son is a gentleman.
Yeah.
If anything, I did a good job.
And that's down to you.
Because
down to some of the difficulties, like Orla's always really positive. She's like, yeah, it's you, and you've done a great job.
But she did.
Yeah.
But she did. But there's also been other people that have contributed.
Oh, absolutely. Your brothers and your sisters, yeah.
And like that, he's like the boys. He's one of the boys.
Yeah.
He's one of the boys, and it's lovely to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I noticed that he was 21 and he bent down, I went, no, what a lovely head of hair.
He's such a cute little
he
boy.
Had the little ball patch, and I went, how can I tell him? He's after getting the ball.
It's hereditary.
Oh, the poor young fella.
Just shave it.
And the boys are like, just shave it off.
Yeah, just shave it.
So he's bald and he's shiny and he's proud of it now and he carries it well.
Yeah.
And he has children of his own.
And this is the thing, another thing, the spiritual thing is the 1st of March was the worst day of my life. And it turned into the best day of my life.
Which 1st of March? What year? This year gone?
No, the 1st of March 6 years ago is when my massive trauma happened.
Okay.
So that turned around to when Demi got pregnant and he said, Ma, wait in the house, because they went to get the scan and I was in my mask going, there's something wrong because he's not telling me. And he came in and he said, here. I said, what's wrong? He said, look at it. And I said, what? Look at it, I said. It was 2. It wasn't 1, it was 2. Twins. So the howl I cried in despair was a howl I cried in happiness. It turned everything around. Yeah. And I think that was on one of the firsts, at the first of something. So I ended up with COVID, let's say, when the babies were due. And it was funny because his auntie got pregnant on twin girls. So it was weird because she had them 5 weeks. She was 5 weeks ahead of him. Something like that. But I always said, just imagine. So I ended up in hospital with COVID. And then Carl rings me. He says, I have COVID. And Demi's gone into slow labour. This is 5 weeks early. I said, what's the chances? 6 o'clock in the morning was the 1st of March. The time the two of them came was the time the trauma happened.
Oh, wow.
So talk about turning the worst day of your life into
one of the best days.
Yeah, they were sent.
So Mandy, as we finish up now, if anybody is looking for a healing off you or wants to come to one of your events, how do they get in touch with you, or what is it that they do?
Well, they can contact you from my phone number, because you know yourself, you don't want to put your phone number all over because there's always the undesirables.
Yeah, they can send us an Instagram
DM
DM
they can
to the
ask, and then you can
podcast
put
on
them
Instagram.
to me. Then it's the one-on-ones, and I hold space. Listen, I don't talk about anything that I haven't experienced, and you understand that when you come to my event. I'll always start off as to know is to understand, to experience is to gain knowledge, and then I'll bring you somewhere that I've experienced because I know.
And I'm going to your event this Friday. I turned up last Friday.
Weird.
Obviously
it's
thinking
not weird. Nothing's ever weird, because I was like, which one do you want me to do? Like, I'll pick a subject, as in, what do you want me to talk about? What do you want this journey to be about? And it's I don't want to. When is this going out?
This won't be going out until the week after.
All right, so it's all about going to the Cave of Fears, and it will start off as in addiction. So when I go into this, like, you're going to meet the addiction guide outside the cave.
Okay.
So addiction is like, why did you become addicted to something? Because it was a fear. So basically, anyone that becomes addicted is like, they're looking for wholeness. So they're seeking it. It's a void. It's. See, I do be in a world of my own when I'm doing it, but you'll understand. So he'll explain to you what addiction is and how you can do something about it. And then when you go into the cave of fears, basically anything you ever feared should come forward if you're spiritual. And you're going to get that fear and you're going to throw it in the fire. And you're going to walk out.
That's really interesting, because I've been having conversations with somebody, a lot of really nice conversations actually, to try and understand addictions a bit more. And I don't mean like those physical addictions to alcohol, but like when you get addicted to a type or a narrative or...
Let's say like an addiction is, so if someone is on heroin, it's because you're not addicted to the drug, you're addicted to the feeling. You're addicted to the feeling, and what is that feeling? It's the feeling that you didn't get. So heroin was like a blanket. So if someone wasn't comforted or hugged when they were a kid, that's what they've been chasing, is that hug, that comfortness, that just, and it's like if you're not being heard, that's the cocaine. They just want to talk. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's all different addictions for different things that happen to you, and it all comes from childhood. Yeah. That's where it all begins.
Yeah. And I largely agree with a lot of that happening to people. Obviously, then us knowing and understanding other traumas bring you in other directions as an adult.
You'll see then that you can't run away from, because it gets to the point where your soul you'll just have a breakdown. And basically, it's your soul screaming that there's a part of you that has been trying to be heard so badly that you're just trying to suppress that, and it's it's going to keep showing up until you actually listen. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So Mandy, thanks very much for coming in to share your story with us. It's so interesting to see the journey that you've been on, and there's obviously huge parts of that journey that you haven't disclosed, that you don't need to disclose to anybody. And as you came in and you done your prayers and you opened up the space and you called in your higher powers,
anyone that's spiritual or has ended up in spirituality has come from trauma. And that's how you end up on your path. And I've walked through the fire. Now my hand is out to take people through the fire. That's what I'm here for.
And as a therapist, I'd be doing the same thing. I feel like it's a humanitarian duty for me to be able to help and support people.
Because you're speaking from experience, not a book.
Yeah, 100%. So thanks very much for coming on board today. My name is Leanne.
My name's Orla.
And together we are
How's Your Man?